Okay, first up this week in the show is going to be First Song, Book 2, and that's the second book in the Anthem of Infinity series, written by Blaise Corbin and Outspan Foster. It is 334 pages, $5.98. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. Here's the author's description. The entire world has changed, and Noah has changed with it. A year after the shift, the plans he delayed, caches he's hidden, and the infrastructure he'd put into place have saved millions. But the world's death toll has still been astronomical. Now he continues to struggle to protect the people he cares about and to atone for his past weakness. Joining with his elite group, the Merriweathers, Noah has been patrolling the eastern United States. He has been helping new communities rebuild from the ashes of civilization. But his true goal has always been the search for humanity's enemies, the Aelves. And when Noah finally hears new rumors about his old foes, what he will encounter will be beyond anything he could have imagined. Ghosts from the past will return and new discoveries will create more questions. Noah will learn that the post-shift world can be even more dangerous than anything he had planned for. There might be something out there even worse than the Aelves. So there we go. This is a good story. I enjoyed it. It does feel fundamentally different than the first book in the series, a lot of the first book of the series, without getting too spoilery. It was originally set in like a far future, where like this alien invasion already hit, and a good like half of the novel was the main character's experience in that timeline. And then there was a shift in that story where the main character gets a second chance, essentially preparing for that kind of alien invasion, apocalypse kind of setting. And so a lot of the rest of the story is that preparation and the final resolution of those aliens kind of coming. In book number 2 in that series, that all's happened. That's all in the past now. And so the entire way that the story is told is actually quite a bit different. This kind of has a slow beginning in that the beginning of the novel really does a pretty decent job of recapping the big events that happened in book 1, but also all the stuff that has happened between the end of book 1, which is really just the beginning of that apocalypse kind of situation. And I want to say it's like been a couple years up until like this point here, but there's been a decent progression of time between then and the beginning of this book. And so the beginning of this book kind of highlights and recaps all those things that have occurred. And so it's kind of a slow start. So, but once the novel gets to the first like big mission in the story, the pacing is really fast, and there's a lot of like really good action and adventure and fighting and you know, good stuff like that. But it takes a little bit together. So if you're finding yourself struggling a little bit with the beginning of this novel, I'd say just seriously just push through, because you're going to be rewarded with some really good stuff. This book also definitely feels a little more straight apocalypse, post-apocalypse feeling. And so I think that's actually going to be to a benefit for general readers. Like they're going to have something they can kind of appreciate if you enjoy apocalyptic kind of stories where like there's a limit on technology and people are surviving for resources, but also against these obstacles or enemies that are coming after them. I think people who like the kind of stories are also going to really enjoy this. Game mechanic wise, the novel in this one are the same as the first one. They're I want to say they show up a little bit more just because there's a huge setup where they didn't exist in book 1, but they exist the entire way through this novel. They do show up a little bit more. It is still a light little RPG in that the game mechanics are the powers are important. The actual progression and the thought process of what he's going to do, they show up in smaller chunk, but they do exist in the story, and it is definitely an RPG. But I'd say it's definitely on the lighter side of little RPG. Some of the things I thought were improved in this story that I thought were like real highlights was definitely the way that the storytellers built up the main group in that first kind of recap section. Like it's described in the novel description, the main character is kind of exploring and patrolling the eastern United States with his group, the Merriweathers. And so you, as the reader, you get to know each one of those little characters. And at first I thought, oh, where's he going with all these backstories? And it turned out that, oh, not everybody in this group is going to survive this novel. And their deaths actually had some oomph to it because you got to know, the authors took the time to let you get to know them before killing them. So they didn't feel like they were just kind of throwaway characters from the get-go, which I definitely appreciated because those deaths had meaning, and the main character's reactions to those losses felt a little more genuine. Also, there are some interesting twists in the novel that I thought were really good and that weren't. I didn't see them coming from the first novel directly. So that's good. I like surprises. I like different changes in the story. And I think you could actually probably start right off in this novel and probably be okay, but you wouldn't quite understand quite all the background stories. But I still enjoyed it. So good time. I think this one again was a little more familiar and a little less innovative for me. So it doesn't quite get the great review score, but it's still really good. It's just a little bit shy of that, I'll say. So for me, it's a score of 7.8 out of 10. That's a really good score. I really enjoyed it quite a bit. For first song, book 2, Anthem of Infinity, book number 2. So there you go. That's again a score of 7.8 out of 10.